Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you may be in this beautiful, transformative planet of ours. This is Inspired Living Radio. It's my midweek broadcast live over on the Om Times Radio Network. It is called Inspired Living Radio, and today we're going to be covering a very interesting topic. You may notice that I have my red Star Trek shirt on, and if you know the movies of Star Trek, you know the guy that's always wearing the red uniform is probably going to be the guy that doesn't make it out of the episode. I've also got my Star Wars hat on, which, as you may know, is the Death Star. And today we're going to be talking about what's been going on in society with UFOs, UAPs. This is nothing new, and I thought today, especially for the episode today, that we're gonna be live on the airwaves here in about 20 minutes. You just go, it's through the internet. It's called Inspired Living Radio. You can go to marclainhart.com. You can just internet search the Intuitive Prospector on the internet, or you can type in Inspired Living Radio, and it's internet based. So we broadcast through the internet platform. Broadcast through my podcasting setup here, my boom mic and my earphones, and then what happens is at 12 p.m. Pacific we'll go live, and you just go to Om Times Radio or marclainhart.com. There's a global player button right there. You can push that play button and listen to the show live from anywhere on the planet now. We are streaming. It's free. There's no passwords or username or memberships or any of that stuff. You can listen on any device, from your iPhone to your iPad to your desktop. Om Times has done a really good job of building the platform. And then, of course, we're going to go for the next hour talking about UFOs, UAPs, Element 115, full disclosure, first contact, things that I've been talking about now for almost 3 years. I've been talking about this drip, drip, drip. And we'll get into a logical discussion as well. Just because of what we're seeing as UAPs does not mean, for those of you who are new to UAPs, that's the government's term for unidentified aerial phenomenon, which dates back throughout history all the way back to the 1500s, where they were actually putting them in paintings, round objects. Kind of looks like this, actually, kind of like a little Death Star. But we're going to be talking about this from a conscious standpoint, from a spiritual standpoint, from a scripture standpoint. It's something that I wanted to dedicate because next month, in just a week or so, Congress is going to have to be given a report, a declassified report from the Pentagon that talks about what their knowledge is of UFOs, little green men, UAPs, contact. I'm not expecting this report to be over the top, to be honest with you. I know, working in government myself, it'll be vetted and redacted, I'm sure, in certain parts. What they can classify or declassify to the general public. But the interesting thing about this whole thing is, in our history, the government, the CIA, the Pentagon, Congress has never really acknowledged the scientific evidence of something that we're not familiar with. Whether it's a national security, we'll be talking about that on the air. Is it national security to, a technology that we're not familiar with that maybe our enemies like China, Russia may have? Is it a black ops American type of technology? The thing that really interests me about all of this is the timing of it. Why is it coming out now in our history? I started to get into ufology when I was in high school, actually in the 90s. Ted Lazar, who used to be an engineer for Area 51, came out with the Ted Lazar tapes. You may remember those, so I'm kind of dating myself. But he started to release some of this meta material, Element 115, that we've had first contact. And I've looked now from the 90s to where we're at here, and just the technology jump alone of what I'm able to do from a technology standpoint has been quite fascinating to me. And I've always thought that we've reverse engineered something that has maybe crashed here, or something that we've come across, because the way that we're seeing this information roll out, that's what's most interesting to me. Why now? Awareness is the greatest agent for change, as Eckhart Tolle reminds us. And why are they acknowledging it? Why are they actually saying, yes, what we're seeing on these videos are real? They are not doctored. They're not photoshopped. Well, one is because their tracking device, the tech that they have is saying we can track these devices now. So we're going to talk more about this on Inspired Living Radio at 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. Again, you can go get the global player at marclainhart.com. Just go down to the Inspired Living Radio section, click on that live air, and you'll be able to stream that live. If you missed the live show, don't worry. We are now podcasted on, I think, 12 different platforms, from Spotify to iTunes to YouTube to SoundCloud to Podbean and everywhere in between. And what I love about doing these shows is, one, we can talk about interesting, conscious, spiritual topics like UFOs, ufology, technology that's farther advanced than ours. But being on the radio too, I get to talk about a lot of different topics. Over the years, on the last 6 seasons of Inspired Living Radio, we've talked about metaphysics, movies, meditations, medicine, mediumship, manifesting, the power of the brain, the power of the brain to be able to rewire through neuroplasticity and the science behind that. We've had marketing specialists on. We've had mountaineering and travel on the channel, on the show. Macroevolution, talking about how we are advancing as a species. Mathematics, masterminding, mental health. We've talked about materialism, marriage, mankind, mindfulness, money. The only species that pays to live here is humans. Modernism, and of course, Mother Earth. So we've covered a lot of topics over the years here on Inspired Living Radio. So if you're new to the platform, make sure to like the page, join the Facebook group called Inspired Living Radio, where you can join the global conscious listeners from all around the planet. You can follow my page, the Intuitive Prospector. Make sure to like and subscribe, or follow me on YouTube or TikTok or Alexa. Just say, Alexa, open up Positive Living. She'll open up tips for spiritual tips from myself. But there's a lot of fear out there too. I might not make it. Well, I don't feel, from my visions and my meditations and my dreams and what I've been talking about, this drip, drip, drip for almost 3 years now, I don't believe they're showing up now to be nefarious, or they've already would have done that. We'll be talking about the black forest, dark forest theory on the show. But we'll be talking about consciousness and logic as well with what we're doing, because I don't think they would travel all this way just to destroy us. I think they would have done it earlier, not let us get as advanced, from nuclear to what we're doing technology, to rebroadcasting ourselves out there. When I was born in the early 70s, the Voyagers was launched saying, hey, universe, here we are. So maybe we've achieved. I sometimes wonder about what's going on in the Earth level, at the planetary level, from politics to divide to pandemics. But being that we have technology that we can track these objects, that's what's most interesting to me, because it's letting them know that we know that they're around, and we've known, the government's known for a long time. I've had a specific event when I was in the Coast Guard that I'll be talking more about on the show, off the coast of Puerto Rico, which is the tip of the Bermuda Triangle. But I'm just curious to see now that they know our technology has made us aware of them, and we can actually prove through science and physics that there is something, like I said, doesn't mean it's little green men, but an intelligence that defies the laws of gravity as we understand it here on the planet, and the laws of physics. And what I mean by that is, the technology, if it is a black box government operation, that's great. Our government does that all the time. You can think about all the things, the projects that have come out, it's new, but they've been working on it for over a decade, right? But what catches from a scientific background, from a scientific method background, is how element 115 came into our periodic table, how it was discovered and created between both Russian and American scientists. So you can look up element 115. But the laws of physics, that these devices, these objects, these UAPs that seem to defy the laws of physics. And what I mean by that, a normal F-18 pilot can do anywhere between 6 Gs to 10 Gs and stay conscious. But after 9 to 10 Gs, the body passes out. What they're measuring with our advanced technology tracking is these devices can go anywhere from 600 to 900 Gs in a matter of seconds. And I don't believe anything on the planet is capable of doing that. So that means this object could be, traveling, 1,000 miles per hour, and then stop on a dime and then go 90 degrees and shift out. So that's what they've tracked. That's what they've seen. That's what these pilots have described. That doesn't mean that's, there's an alien inside, because if it was organic, because we have to think about organic life as Carl Sagan talks about throughout the universe, a species necessarily wouldn't be able to survive going 1,000 miles an hour. Think of yourself in a car going 1,000 miles an hour and then stopping on a dime and then going 90 degrees. You would literally fly out of your skin, right? So it could be a drone. It could be, something where they're just checking us out. I don't know. We're gonna have a conversation on it. I kind of was gonna open up the show. Let's see. I better check the time. I got about 10 minutes. I was just kind of joking around, like, Explorer 1, Drone 1 to Mothership. Come in. Yeah, Mothership is responding. Did you allow visual contact? We did, Mothership. And well, the humans didn't believe it. Said that it was a weather balloon, said it was something about the X-Files, or something about the new show Debris. And the Mothership responds, oh, I see. And there's something about this guy named Trump and an insurrection and a presidential election, and something about a pizza shop and a guy's son named Bo. I mean, it's just like, and that seems to be gaining more traction. Roger, proceed to escalate to media. So already done, Mothership. New York's time with the video. And well, Mothership, it was 2020. There was a lot else going on. So we're going to have a bit of a fun conversation, consciously, scientifically. We're going to look at the economy. We're going to talk about what Carl Sagan talked about with first contact. If mankind were to be contacted by an alien race, how would the world respond? How would people change? Well, next month, we're going to find out. You may have seen the movie Contact with Jodie Foster, which I love that movie. And you'll realize the movie was not based on a spaceship like, Hollywood movies coming down and landing on the White House and blowing the White House up like Independence Day. But Contact was actually based on mathematics and 3- and 4th dimensional thinking to put together a schematic or an engineering concept to be able to drop through, kind of like a Stargate. And if you've never seen the movie, I highly recommend it. It was the first written book by, well, not first written book, but it was one of the books written by Carl Sagan. And he just, he explores this fascinating question: how will the world respond to first contact, or realizing that we're not alone in this vast universe, which, for a lot of us, I've always thought it's pretty naive, arrogant, cocky, narcissistic to think that we're the only species in this universe that is mathematically incomprehensible. There's more stars in the universe. You may have witnessed that last night with the full eclipse of the moon, the blood moon, as they call it. There's some interesting spiritual aspects that are taking place. It's the 26th, right? So it's a day after Star Wars was founded in 1977, which was May 25th. The blood moon last night, the new moon that's coming, that the Native American cultures have talked about with the transformation of the planet. The timing is everything, right? They always say timing is everything. I'm just curious to why now? Why have this report that comes out to Congress and to the media that actually declassifies what they know, what they have, if there's been first contact, if there's bodies? That is the interesting point to me. But what else is interesting is that they validated, and we have awareness that there is technology that defies the laws of gravity, defies the laws of physics as we understand them today. And I think we start to explore that, to be a prospector, exploring and discovering through body, mind, and spirit, because there's so much more on our planet and then out in the universe. Like I said, there's more stars out than grains of sand on all the beaches around the planet. So think about that. And we're 70% water. We've only discovered about 7 to 10% of our ocean. We know more about our moon than we do our own oceans. So there could be a complete species that's already here that has evolved that we may not be aware of. I always think of the octopus. And again, I'll be talking about that on the show. Octopus is the only species on the planet that has DNA compared to nothing else on the planet. So that means it comes from somewhere else. It's an extraterrestrial. So when people actually ask me as a certified advanced diver, have you seen aliens? I always say, yes, I have. A few times. And they're like, really? I'm like, yeah, I've actually seen octopus down in the oceans of where I've dove. And it's quite fascinating because they're not of our planet. They're extraterrestrials. They use logic. They're problem solving. They communicate. If you've not seen My Octopus Teacher, the documentary that just came out, fascinating story on Netflix of a guy that started to have a friendship with an octopus. And it's just shows you where we're going. And so again, the extraterrestrials, or SETI, the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, may not even be in a galaxy far, far away. It may be right here on our own planet, just in a different vibration, in a different form, at a very deep depth of the ocean that we haven't not discovered. Because the story I'm going to share on the air was off Puerto Rico, and it had to do with the latest video that just was released of a UAP hovering above the water and then shooting down into the water. So I'll be sharing that story here in just a few minutes. But if you want to join me, go to marclainhart.com, subscribe to this page, or go to Inspired Living Radio Facebook page and join the global community. So you can listen to the live broadcast, and you can get all the podcast replays. So if you have a favorite station, for example, Spotify, we just got picked up by Spotify and Deezer and Podchaser and Podcast Addict. So you can listen to all the different podcasts from 6 seasons back. We have some upcoming guests that we're getting ready for the summer show, so I'm looking forward to that. So I'm going to get geared up for the show. I hope that you'll join me. If you have a question and you want to call in, I need to get my notes out. If you have a question and you want to call in, you can call into the actual number. There's actually a number now that we have where you can call in and ask me questions, or you can share. You can even just share a story if you have, you've seen something. I'm sure a lot of you watching have seen something and you're just not sure what it is. That's an unidentified flying object, a UFO. Does not equate to little green men. But if you've had a story, or if you had, contact, or, I'm just wondering, all those people that said they've been abducted and we're now confirming that there is something beyond ourselves, I wonder how they feel. Are they a little vindicated? Are they feeling a little bit like I'm not as crazy as I thought? But if you want to call in, 202-570-7057. That's the Inspired Living Radio call-in line anywhere in the United States. 202-570-7057. I'm just going to be having a conversation talking about UFOs, talking about UAPs, talking about first contact, talking about the economy, how the economy changes, but also talking about how us as a species are moving out to become space explorers. What you've seen with Virgin Atlantic just did, the first space flight that could be taking people into space by next year. SpaceX, which Starbase down in Texas, and Starship landing, a 6-story building landing, taking off, going up 6 miles, belly flopping, floating down, landing, phenomenal. And think about where we've gone from the Wright brothers in 1903 to where we're at now, and what the next 100 years is going to look like as we move out into space. Capitalism, exploration, mining objects like asteroids, new materials, and of course, whatever first contact is going to look like. So I hope that you'll join me here in just 10 minutes over on Ohm Times Radio, marclainhart.com, internet search Intuitive Prospector, or just look up my name or Inspired Living Radio. It'll pop up and you can get there through the global player, through your internet, through your iPhone, or through your other devices that you may have. So you can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Inspired4Us. That's the number 4. And again, I hope that you join me and just have an open mind and call in and share a story with me. I'd love to hear from you because, again, I'm going to be sharing some of my experiences and some of my knowledge of ufology, UFOs, UAPs, metamaterial, full disclosure, first contact, and try to keep it logical as well. Very logical, right? As Spock would say, very logical. So I hope that you'll join me, and thanks for hanging out. So I hope you're having a great day, and may the force be with you. Or since I'm an oxymoron today between Star Wars and Star Trek, I'll just say live long and prosper, and may the force be with you. So I'll see you on the airwaves. Take care, everybody. Namaste.